So let's place our bets. Is the sun gonna go down as I'm filming? I'm cutting it really close. I might talk too much to do this while I still have sunlight, but we're gonna try. All right, so hey guys, it's Maddie. Today, we're talking about sensuality and how to get in touch with your sensual side and how to really nourish that part of yourself. I love talking about sensuality, and I think that living a sensual life is very similar to living a romantic life. And so many of you asked me to make the how to romanticize your life video, and clearly a lot of you guys like that one. So I'm super excited for this one because I think if you like that, you're definitely gonna like this. So before we really get deep into it, let's define sensuality, because I think there's a little bit of misconception on what sensuality actually is. So sensuality is the enjoyment, expression, and pursuit of pleasure to the senses. Often we hear the word sensuality exclusively in connection with sex, because sex is incredibly sensual, but not all sensuality is sex. There are so many ways to express your sensuality and to live a sensual life without including sex in that picture. Sex is for sure a part of it. Sex is one way to be sensual, to experience sensuality, but it's not the only way at all. I like to think of it like just living in a constant state of stopping to smell the roses. You're just living slowly. You are always sort of taking time to stop, to observe the life you're living, what you're doing, and really take in the moment. When I was first starting to really think about what it means for me to prioritize being in touch with my sensual side, I ended up coming across this creator named Evian Whitney. I've definitely mentioned Evian in a video before. They are a sexuality doula and just an overall expert when it comes to sensuality. They talk a ton about sensuality on their Instagram, their podcast, and also their journal. The journal's brand new. I think it was just released in December. I bought it and I've been doing it, and I have absolutely loved what I have completed in the journal so far. If you like what we're talking about in today's video, definitely go check out Evian's pages and their book. I think you could really get a lot out of it. And also they're just like an incredible creator that I totally recommend following. But in today's video, I wanted to go through some practices and rituals that have been really helpful for me when it comes to prioritizing and really nurturing my sensual side. Before we totally get into today's video, I want to introduce our sponsor, which is our friends over at beducated. I've been working with beducated for like almost a full year now. It'll be a year in February, which is crazy. I am so grateful to have their support on my channel, because obviously they are a company that I really believe in and that I love so wholeheartedly. If you've never heard of beducated is an online course platform with audio, video, and written guides designed to enhance your love and sex life. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of aspects of our life are sensual. Sex is absolutely one of those aspects of life that is extremely sensual. And not only is sex extremely sensual, but also masturbation and solo pleasure is extremely sensual as well. When you break it down, living sensually is really just living in a way that prioritizes pleasure to all of your senses. So let 2022 be the year that you prioritize having better orgasms, baby. I've talked about this course before. One of my absolute favorites in the beducated library is their course on the female orgasm. The course explores the full spectrum of vulval orgasms and the 5 different pleasure zones. And the course isn't strictly about orgasms. It more has a focus on your pleasure, both solo and with a partner, and then the orgasm is sort of like a secondary priority, which I think is sort of how it is for most of us. There's so much more to sex and masturbation than actually reaching an orgasm, although that's absolutely a bonus. Something that I really love about the beducated courses is a lot of them come with additional worksheets or audio guides, so that after you complete the course itself, you sort of have something to take with you and test out outside of the course itself. So for the female orgasm course specifically, they have audio guides at the end, both for solo play and for partner play, to sort of guide you through achieving an orgasm, which I absolutely love. And I think it totally plays into the idea of living slower, taking your time to really try and engage all of your senses and experience the maximum amount of pleasure possible. I think every year is a good year to prioritize your pleasure including your orgasms, but also your pleasure in general. And Beducated is an incredible way to start prioritizing that aspect of your life. So if you really like sex content, you're looking for a space to indulge in more of it and answer some questions you have, explore a little bit more of this side of yourself, you've got to go check out Beducated. And the best part about this is that I have a code. You can use code Maddie for 70% off the yearly pass to Beducated. That's 70% off. It's fucking ridiculous. They're wild. So again, you can use code Maddie for 70% off the yearly pass at Beducated. And thank you again to my friends over at Beducated for sponsoring today's video. Let's get into it. Let's go through some of my favorite rituals and practices for staying in touch with my sensual side. All right, I just got out of the shower, so excuse my wet hair, but I'm gonna kick this off by doing my skincare. We all know that I'm a skincare baddie at this point, all right? I love taking time to massage some products into my skin, but I do think that doing your skincare is like a good excuse to take a second and like live a little slower, breathe. It's almost like a meditation in and of itself. But I have a question for us to kick off with. And that question is, what makes you feel disconnected from your body? So I feel like for myself, the times in my life where I have felt super disconnected from my body, it's usually been for reasons outside of my control. Like, I will feel a major disconnect from my body anytime I get sick for any reason. Particularly when it's anything to do with my vagina in any way. I can't explain that. The first time I got BV, I was feeling that way. The first time I got a yeast infection, I was feeling that way. I feel like whenever things sort of happen that feel outside of my control and like things are happening to my body that I didn't say yes to. Obviously no one is like, yeah, I'd love a yeast infection, I'd love BV. It makes you feel disconnected from your body, obviously. It sucks to feel like your body is like on autopilot, or like your body and your mind are in two different places. I think the BV experience was probably the time that I felt the most disconnected from my body, because it came about because a tampon was stuck inside me. When we finally got the tampon out, I had bacterial vaginosis. So that was a moment where I felt like disconnected from my body, because I felt like my body betrayed me in some way. And I feel like a lot of the times sickness in any way can make you feel that way. And also obviously it plays a massive part that all of those experiences in my body are connected to a part of my body that feels more difficult to chat about. You know, we're a lot more open about saying, oh, I have a cold, rather than, oh, I have BV. But I do think that talking about those things should feel easier. I wish it did. Everyone gets these things at some point in their life. It's okay, but it does feel disconnecting from your body in the moment, for sure. Outside of moments of sickness, I definitely also feel that same disconnect from my body whenever I am just having a tough day. I've had a few days recently where I felt like my body was like, I need to take a break, but my mind was like, oh my god, I have so much to fucking do. And that contrast of like my body demanding one thing and my brain demanding a different thing, sometimes that makes me feel disconnected from my body as well, because I'm like, please step it up, I have things to get done. But you just feel like, ah, I don't want to do anything, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I just want to like sit and stare at a wall. I want all of my tasks to disappear. And if you don't listen to those urges and give yourself a break when your body demands a break, that's cause for disconnection as well. Now, answering this question the other way around, what makes you feel connected to your body, going off of what I just said, is honoring my body's needs and demands for rest, for food, for indulgence, for extravagant relaxation, honoring whatever my body is asking me to do, regardless of if my schedule even fucking allows for it. Something that makes me feel connected to my body is when I feel that urge to like fucking stop, take a break, take a rest, and I say, you know what? We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna rearrange the schedule. We are going to allow you this time to relax and do nothing, because you really need it. You need that little mental health day, and we're gonna figure it out. You know, productivity and checking shit off a to-do list is not more important than your mental health. And when I allow that to happen, when I allow my brain to show up for my body, I feel super connected to myself, but sometimes that's really fucking hard. You know, it's just easy to feel connected to yourself when you honor your own needs and wants and desires instead of overriding them with, oh, but I should be doing this or I should be feeling that. Like, but you don't. You feel this way right now, and that's okay. And you should let yourself feel that instead of trying to override and force yourself to be productive or, you know, whatever it may be. This can show up in a lot of different contexts. Another way that I feel super connected to my body is just when I allow myself to experiment with my style and not worry if it fucking looks good or not. I have had so much fun with fashion and trying to experiment with clothes this past year, and part of why it's been so fun is just because I like have really given myself the space to explore and to be like, okay, I don't even know if this outfit looks good, but I'm just gonna wear it. And if other people don't like it, that's kind of none of my business. You're not wearing it, so what do you fucking care? And I feel more connected to my body when I take time out to really do my skin and body care and just really make sure that my body, my physical self, is feeling hydrated and ready to go. No dry skin, cracking skin, like just making sure that I just feel the goodness being sucked into my body. And also, this is a huge one, but masturbation. And I'll talk more about that as well. But the reason I bring up these questions is just to say that I think it's important to recognize what it is that makes you feel disconnected from your body. And even if it's something that you cannot totally control, same way you cannot totally control when you are sick or aren't sick, what can you do to help strengthen your connection? What are practices that help you feel connected to your body that you can work in moments where you feel that disconnect? All right, so let's talk about sensuality in connection to sex, which honestly, in the present day, I need to work on a little bit, because ask me if I have tried masturbating 3 separate times this week and forgot each time that every vibrator in my drawer is dead. But the thing is that there are so many vibrators in my drawer that I keep convincing myself that there's one that I haven't checked. So I'm like, there's gotta be one in here that works, rather than charging my fucking vibrators. Everyone in the comments remind me to charge my vibrators. So most of the time when we talk about sensuality or hear about sensuality, it's in connection to sex. For obvious reasons, right? Because sex is incredibly sensual. Is sex the only thing that is sensual in life? Absolutely not. But sex itself is something that is incredibly sensual, and it's easy to understand why it is incredibly sensual. Watching your partner get off and how much that adds to the experience, feeling every part of your partner and how much that adds to the experience, tasting your partner, smelling not only your partner's like cologne, perfume, soaps, but also their sweat, hearing your partner moan or dirty talk or, you know, whatever. Great sex engages all of our senses effortlessly. It is such an easy thing to be super sensual. So of course we relate the two interchangeably. Match that, like having sex with a partner that really makes sure to engage all of your senses during sex, match that with a partner who goes slow and really lets you indulge in every part of that process, makes sure that you enjoy all of it. Come on. Being with a partner who is slow, intentional, incredibly sensual, knows the importance of foreplay, and truly focuses on building you up so that you're both able to orgasm and have this I can't even talk about this anymore. Going off of that, another point to make is that outside of sex, masturbation can also be and is incredibly sensual. However, I think sometimes with masturbation, we tend to put less effort in than we do with partners. I mean, it's just us, right? I mean, I'm not gonna act like every time that I masturbate is this incredible sensual experience. Sometimes it's literally just me holding a vibrator to my clit and sitting there, you know? However, having more sensual and slow, intentional time with yourself via masturbation, I think is really great. Really important. I think it's a great way to connect with yourself and your body and your orgasm. And I think a lot of the times in sex and masturbation, we experience a lot of distractions. And there is something really powerful about experiencing an orgasm with no distractions, no thoughts and visions of something else, but just like really sitting and feeling the pleasure as it's building up in your body and focusing on that feeling and focusing on yourself. Because I think even with myself, most of the time when I'm masturbating, I'm either watching porn, or if I'm not watching porn, I am thinking of something or someone. You know what I mean? Usually there are other things that I am maybe focusing on or thinking about while masturbating outside of just focusing on the pleasure. However, I really do love every now and again, I'm definitely not saying I do this every time. Most of the time it's very much like I'm about to go to bed in 10 minutes. Let me crank one out because I deserve it. But every now and again, I do love to make masturbation very slow and only think and focus on myself and my pleasure and what my body is feeling in that moment. I think it's an incredibly like grounding experience in your body. I think it really is like a very unique and grounding experience to just focus on the sensations. Don't dream anything up, don't watch porn, no music, no nothing. Just focusing on breathing and feeling your body, feeling the pleasure, feeling that buildup in every part of your body. It is wonderful. So like I said earlier, sensuality is so much more than just sex and masturbation, but obviously engaging your senses in sex and masturbation is incredibly intuitive. So naturally, that's why we associate it so heavily. So let's talk about what pleasure can look like on a daily level. Lately, for me, this has been meaning taking some time in the morning to stretch my body, to meditate, to read my book for 15 minutes, to just set aside time to sort of wake my body and mind up. I find it really helpful to have practices that encourage me to really be present and sit in my body, especially in the morning. And I feel like obviously this is heightened because I spend a lot of my life on social media because it's not only what I do but what I love. But I think this kind of applies for everyone. We're always on our phones, very connected to other people, connected to what's going on in the world, random fucking internet trends and drama. It's entertaining, it is, and I am fully invested in it, so I get it. So for me, taking time to meditate or read or do quiet activities that have no purpose other than to just allow me to exist outside of technology and also to experience silence for myself has been really helpful. I'm a very anxious person, so the reason why I got into meditation is because I will at times wake up with like pits of anxiety in my stomach for no real reason. I will not know why I feel that way. I will just wake up and feel like this panic all over my body. And you know what? Last night was one of those nights. I was up several times throughout the night last night just feeling like, oh my God, I have things to worry about. What do I have to worry about? Let me think. What am I worrying about? Not even fucking sure what I'm worrying about. Just knowing that I'm feeling it in my body and I'm waking myself up in the middle of the night because I'm that panicked. At some point over the last few years, I reached a point where I was like, you know what? Maybe you should explore practices that could help with that. Things that could make you feel more connected to your body. Because that's another thing. Answering the question that I was talking about earlier. My anxiety makes me feel so disconnected from my body. Because half the time, I don't know why I'm fucking worrying. It's like your body just starts moving. Like you start feeling things and you're like, why do I feel that way? What is happening? Most of me getting into meditation has been in 2021, but definitely is something that's sort of been like all throughout the pandemic and just spending more time at home, alone, having quieter mornings since I do work from home and I have the entire pandemic, and just allowing myself space to wake up in the morning to feel however it is that I'm feeling when I first open up my eyes, and then give myself space to breathe, stretch my body out, and meditate if I want to and have the time to. Morning routines in general feel like catalysts for pleasure. So I really value my morning routines and rituals, and I try my best to switch them up every now and again. So I'm really paying attention to what my body needs in that moment and catering my morning routines, night routines to fit whatever that is, rather than being like, I have to do this at this time and it has to be for this long in order for it to be worthwhile and it has to look like this. Like, what does your body want you to do? What would feel good right now, today? What would help you feel better and more connected to yourself? So to me, living a romantic life and living a sensual life really go hand in hand. If you watched my How to Romanticize Your Life video, this might sound very familiar, but another major part of how I connect with my sensual side is I am dating myself, bitch. I am constantly taking myself out on dates and doing nice things for myself. So that means allowing myself to be gentle with myself, to really prioritize feeling my feelings instead of over analyzing them and intellectualizing my feelings to avoid actually feeling them. And also, in a less serious note, that means like showing up for myself with a bouquet of flowers after I've had a bad day, or going out and grabbing the fresh bagel that I really want from the bakery even though I have food at home, just because it would fucking make me happy. Once I get that bagel, it's taking time to sit down at my kitchen table and eat it without any distractions. No phone, no TV, just sitting and enjoying the food, enjoying my time, the smell of the fresh bakery when I walk in and grab it. Like, appreciate the little things. Living your life slow enough that you're able to take it all in. And you can do that after a bad day, or you can do that just fucking because, you know? You deserve to live romantically, live sensually all the time, not only after you've had a bad day. Honoring your wants, honoring what would feel good for you, what would make you happy in that day, in that moment, and then soaking in every last bit of it. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that Bake Shop in Bushwick is like my absolute favorite place ever. I'm here all the fucking time because they have the best everything bagels. So I'm here again, as always, and I'm gonna go get my fucking bagel, bitch. Something that Evian has written about that has really stuck with me is the fact that we live in a world that really does not encourage us to be connected to ourselves. When I was working 2 jobs last year, and most of my life in general was consumed with working in one way or the other, and if I wasn't working, I was thinking about the next time that I was gonna have to work. When I was spending a lot of my time working, it was really difficult for me to find the time to slow down and live a more intentional life. Also, I think it's worth noting that I was working myself that hard by choice. It was fully by choice that I was doing that. So there are people in a lot different situations where they are worked to the bone in ways that are outside of their control. But speaking just for myself here, when I was really in like that hustle hard mindset, it was really difficult to prioritize connecting with myself and my body. I just didn't have the time or mental space to, because when you're constantly go, go, go all the time, you don't really think to slow down and like fucking smell the roses and sit at your kitchen table and eat your meal without any distractions, instead of like sitting and answering emails while you eat your meal. And being in like this go, go, go mentality is so common for so many of us, simply because we live in a capitalistic society. And being in that go, 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 gotta work, gotta be productive all the time mindset is incredibly common. And I think it's something that a lot of us struggle with, especially because productivity is so upheld as like a major marker of how to calculate your worth and your success in our society, when there are so many other aspects of you that contribute to you living a life that feels full and whole, other than how productive you are and how much work you're able to provide, how much money you're able to make. Also, not to mention that sometimes life happens to us. You go through shit. You're struggling with some difficult emotions, you're going through something traumatic in your life. When you're in sort of a tough spot emotionally, it's also going to feel really hard to connect with your body and prioritize that in those contexts. It's complicated. right? And most of the time it's not as easy as just like journaling and stretching and masturbating, although I wish it was. Do I think that having these rituals of journaling and stretching and taking yourself out to get a fresh baked croissant, if that's what you want, help to sort of encourage you to live your life slower? Absolutely. Is that always reasonable for everyone? No. But I think that it's good to remember that we are all sensual beings. And even though we will flow in and out of periods of our life where connecting to that side of ourselves, or even having the space to be able to explore considering connecting with that side of ourselves is available to us, that side of yourself never goes away, right? So throughout your life, it'll ebb and flow, where sometimes you will feel super connected to this more slow, sensual aspect of yourself, and other times you will be too go and stressed out and dealing with shit to even consider it, and that's okay. You will never lose your sensual part of yourself. You are a sensual being. You will always be a sensual being, even if you are having a hard time connecting with that side of you at the current moment. Also, I really recommend that you guys check out and purchase Evian's journal if you're at all interested in that. I've been doing one journal prompt every single day since I got it, and it's just been so awesome to have a space to sit down and have someone else ask me a question that I have to sit and go, okay, let me think about that. Let me journal about that. And they're all questions designed to help connect you more with your body. So if that's something that you feel interested in, definitely go check it out. I will link Evian's book in the description down below. So much talking in today's video. Oh my God. After these heavily talking videos, I'm like, all right, now I gotta go put on some outfits and be like, do you guys like this one? Like, not that my fashion videos aren't top notch. Anyways, my fashion videos are top notch, but you know, we gotta go in and out of the serious and non-serious videos. If you like this video, if you like my content, be sure to follow me on my other social media, primarily my Instagram, because I do be posting on that bitch all the fucking time. And I would love to talk to you guys over there. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.